Hi everyone, I'm Gertie and this is Naty. And today we are here with 13 spooky sewing tips. So whether you want to make an amazing, elaborate Halloween costume or you just want to infuse a little creepiness into your everyday wardrobe for October, we've got the tips for you. So let's dive right in. My first tip is to think about fabrics that will really simplify your life. We used neoprene a lot in the studio this month to make the Morticia gown that I'm wearing and the Lily Munster variation that Naty is wearing. Neoprene is so great because it doesn't fray, which means that you can eliminate things like facings. And also you can leave the hem edges raw, which is really helpful when you're doing these elaborate batwing shapes. Also consider things like stretch lace, stretch velvet, and tricot chiffon because you can cut them with a rotary cutter and they won't fray.
Lean on accessories that will sort of complete the look, so you don't have to really reinvent the wheel and do everything. For Gigi's adorable pirate costume, we made the dress, but we leaned on Etsy to figure out a pirate hat, so you don't have to do everything. Or if you're going for a Lily Munster sort of look, get a friend like Gertie and annoy her until she makes you a cool wig you can borrow.
Tip number 3 is to simplify your construction techniques. Now you all know I am a stickler for good sewing techniques, but for one holiday of the year, I'm going to give you a completely free pass to throw all the rules out the window and just focus on fast and fun Halloween sewing. So for instance, on these neoprene gowns, believe it or not, I backstitched at the end of my darts. Whereas normally I would always say you have to hand tie your darts. But fabrics like this are really forgiving and you're probably only going to wear these costumes once or twice. So just live a little, have fun.
Another tip is to think about how your costume will be used. If you're doing something for a photo shoot, exaggerate your design elements so they're really legible. For things like appliques, go really big. I'm talking 10-foot pumpkins, go for it.
Another tip is to plan your Halloween sewing around things that you already want to sew anyway. So for instance, this year I was kind of drooling over this pink stretch satin fabric. And so I kind of made it part of my Halloween plan to make that Sally Slater costume from the Haunted Mansion, in which I had to incorporate a pink satin Bryant gown. In other words, plan your Halloween sewing around all the fabrics you want to buy anyway.
Another tip is to start early. Carving out time to start early means it's not this sort of exhausting job that you have to do, but more like something for self-care that you're doing because you enjoy.
Another great tip is to focus on 1 or 2 details that will really make your costume read. So for instance, on Gigi's pirate costume, to really make it scream pirate, I knew I wanted to do that fun lace-up decorative detail on her corset. So not only did she have a lace-up corset back, she had a decorative lacing panel in the front. Another example is these spooky batwing sleeves, so that would really read Morticia or Glamour Ghoul. So focus on 1 or 2 details that will give you the most bang for your buck, and then you can focus on the rest of the construction as you go.
One tip is to think about a pattern you've already enjoyed making in the past. I don't think Halloween deadline sewing is the time to try something totally out of your wheelhouse and be stressed about learning new pattern construction. With the Stanwyck Wednesday dress, we'd made a few of those already. We were well familiar with how it comes together. And so we just added a few fun design elements to a pattern that we were already comfortable sewing. But we weren't starting from scratch with something totally new on a timeline, which I think was really helpful.
Another thing to remember is that Halloween sewing can be very budget friendly if you're intentional. Think about shopping your own closet. So for instance, with Gigi's pirate look, we had a mariner blouse that we made for her for another shoot. We repurposed it by taking off the collar, and voila, we had a pirate blouse. Then we made a pink silk circle skirt from scratch, as well as her fabulous red corset, and we had a pirate look for less. So remember to think about what you already have on hand that you can repurpose.
Another tip is that fabric tape is your best friend. For those days you just spiritually cannot handle hemming something. Now, I'm not saying glue your whole dress together, but 'tis the season, right? To do less. Work harder, not smarter. Oh God, work smarter, not harder. That's what I always say.
Is that what you said?
That's what I say. That's what I'm known for saying.
All right, can I just say we cannot let them tape their whole dress together. Another thing to think about is that if you can't find the exact print you need for your costume, consider making your own. So for instance, I knew I really wanted to do the tightrope walker costume from the Haunted Mansion, but I knew I would need a very specific print for the skirt. There's that green floral with the purple centers. So instead of searching the internet and Spoonflower for the exact right print at the exact right scale, I got some fabric paint, made a stencil, and hand painted it myself.
My next tip is to lean on things like appliques to add a little drama. So this will allow you to keep the garment construction pretty straightforward. For example, this Lily Munster gown really comes together with just a little bit of lace. I feel like just completely transforms the garment, which means you can keep the sewing pretty straightforward. Get a ton of lace, cover yourself in glitter glue, I don't care, we're not gonna yell at you.
My last tip is to get weird and get ambitious. Think of Halloween as a time of year to explore your creativity and go as far as you can with your sewing. So looking back to last year, there was a vintage dress that I really wanted to recreate that had this amazing spiderweb applique on the surface. And so of course what I did was spend days and days and days perfecting my spiderweb embellishment technique, trying all the different techniques and materials that I could until I felt that I had nailed it. So use this time to really explore a technique that you've been wanting to do and make it something fabulous. So there you have it, our 13 spooky sewing tips. Thank you so much for watching, and please tell us in the comments what you're planning on making for Halloween, and if you have any Halloween sewing tips that you would love to share. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.